Hello, and welcome to another Let's Play. A horror game, Let's Play done in one go, and it's another game by Charon, 2019. Like, this game was made in 2019, and we played a game by Charon before called Yanderella, and I think a few more games. You can check them out in Let's Plays in the playlist Let's Plays done in one go. And yeah. Let's start the game. Oh, apparently you play this game with the mouse, which is unique. Normally you play the game, or you play games like these with like the arrow keys and Y and with Z and X. Charon presents. The game is called Sarasa. Just by the way, because I think it just said something in like Japanese. The piercingly cold snow continued to fall. During this season, the wrath of Mother Nature shows no signs of slowing down or stopping. This is a remote mountainous area. A man's shadow is seen walking along the road, which is covered with snow up to his knees. All the cars on the road had stopped moving. The phones were disconnected and no help was coming. He was at a loss. Deep in the mountains, unable to pick up a single signal. He has no choice but to evacuate, but on the way he was separated from his beloved wife. A poor man who was separated from his love by Mother Nature. Where he's headed, and whether he will even make it back alive, no one can say. Where are you? Where are you? The man seemed to have tears in his eyes as he mumbled something. In the midst of a great snowstorm, he searched for his loved one with bloodshot eyes. He was sweating even in sub-zero conditions, as he was in a great hurry. Wandering alone in the middle of a blizzard, anyone could see that only a cruel fate awaited him. The heavy snowstorm obscures his vision. It was getting fiercer and fiercer, and he could hardly stand on his own 2 feet. Even so, as if searching for something to hold on to, he struggled his way through the pure white world. It was then that his strength reached its limits. Suddenly, he saw an orange light swaying in the distance. What is that? The man strained his eye, but he couldn't make it out clearly. In this bad weather, there was no way for him to see what it was. He took one step, then another. Carefully, and finally it became clear. Dot dot dot. A person. A person was there. A person holding a lantern in their hand, from which an orange glow emanated. It wasn't his wife, but the mere fact that another living being existed in this hellscape was reassuring. More than anything, just knowing that there was another human being around made him feel less tense. He put his hand to his chest in relief and walked quickly over to the figure. Oh crap, she's from Akatsuki. Hail, traveler. Alright. At a distance where the figure's face was clearly visible, they called out to the man. Standing there was a young woman. What's the matter? What are you doing here, in a place like this? Her features were beautifully formed, and her voice had a lovely tone, like a ringing bell. Her luscious black hair was swept by the wind as she stared worriedly at the man. Gotten lost, I'm looking for my missing wife. Okay, I feel like this is the game where you have like different endings again. So we're gonna go with I've gotten lost. I see. So you lost your way? Her brow furrowed in thought for a moment, and then she smiled at him as if she had made up her mind. This is certainly no place to be standing around. My home is just around here. Why not stop by? As soon as she said that, she turned around and started to walk away. In spite of the poor visibility, the woman walked as if she knew the way. Under these circumstances, her confidence was an uplifting sight to behold. The man, nearing the limit of his physical and mental strength, decided to do as she suggested. It's probably the best if we keep our wife a secret from her for now. I have the feeling that she might not be amused. The fire in the hearth burned with a crackling sound. The gently flickering flames quickly warmed even his freezing body. This hut was very warm, a little old but sturdy and well built. It wasn't spacious, but it was more than enough for one person. I see. That must have been quite difficult for you. She was brewing tea as she listened to the man's story. Green liquid is poured from the teapot, spitting out steam as it splashes into the cup. As the man watched, he was struck by memories of his own childhood. Here, drink up. The man took it and wrapped his hands around the teacup to warm them. Normally, he would flinch from touching such a hot object, but right now it felt about right. You must be cold, aren't you? A warm drink is the best medicine for a cold body. His cold body and mind are gradually regaining its warmth. If he had stayed outside as it was, the man won't go unscathed. He was lucky to have met this woman by chance. I don't know if this was by chance. I have the feeling that this is not by chance. But she is pretty though. I like her character design. By this point, it's no exaggeration to say that she's the man's savior. However, this is not the time to sit around leisurely. Suddenly remembering his original objective, the man felt anxious. While he sits around like this, his wife might be wandering outside in the cold snow. The man can't sit around doing nothing as he suddenly stood up. Where are you planning to go? Calm down. You're not planning to walk along those snowed-over roads in the state, are you? I understand that you're impatient, but at least get some rest before you go. Though he's perplexed by her words, the man sat back down and calmed. He picked up the tea as he calms his mind, as he lets out a tired breath. The man closed his eyes as he smells the tea's fragrance. From that tea, he can smell something similar his grandmother used to put into the tea from when he was young. Such a ridiculous thing. In such a serious time when my wife is missing. This hut's warmth is able to make me forget all of my pain. You may call me Sarasa. For as long as I can remember, I have been living in here alone. It appears her name is Sarasa. Yes, you idiot, she just told you. What do you mean it appears her name is Sarasa? She just literally said, my name is Sarasa. Why is such a frail young woman living all alone, all the way in such a remote area? Rather, it's very unusual for a person to live so deep within the mountains. I wonder how does she manage such things like food? Where does she store it? As a lot of questions kept popping up, the man decided to ask her, what happened to your family? Why are you alone? Why are you alone? Let's see. Where should I begin? The woman is staring into the air, thinking as if about something as she... Wait, what? The woman is staring into the air, thinking as if about something as she begins to talk. Okay, I think this is just crooked. Both my father and my mother has passed away a long time ago. Originally, my family used to live in a village nearby, but as she reaches that part, the woman pauses for a while. I guess it's safe to say that we got kicked out of the village. Can't be helped. I wonder if this is the best choice for both the village and us. Sarasa is looking at the distance, as if recalling something sorrowful. Being chased out. Hearing those words, the man could only imagine a sorrowful scene. I should stop asking questions and pry into her personal circumstances any further. It's weird that sometimes the narrator is a third person's perspective, and then it switches back to first person. Like, I should stop asking questions, you know? And before it's like, the man was looking at her. Like, it's a weird, like, switch in between sometimes. Dear traveler, it's about time. After you're done resting, are you planning to go out again? That's my plan. I've got to find my wife. First thing, like, I feel like it's uninteresting for this person that I have a wife, but yeah, like, that's my plan. I have to go outside. And second of all, the thing is, who's this wife of ours? Do we actually have a wife? Because normally in games like these, they would show us the wife and how we lost them before we go on a quest to, like, find them. Maybe it's like a mind trick kind of thing. That's my plan. We better call it off for today. The blizzard is still raging outside. Are you planning to die? Something dangerous called Kubitori lurks around these parts. Going out this late at night is very dangerous. Don't say such bad things. If you want to leave, better to do it tomorrow morning. If you don't mind it here, you can stay for the night. Something dangerous. Kubitori. There's a folklore about a monster attached to this land. It is said to go cut the necks of any travelers who wander around the mountain. Well, if you insist on going, then I'm not going to stop you. You may do whatever you wish. However, if the Kubitori comes and slits your neck, know that I've already warned you. Then just for tonight, I'll be in your care until morning. I'll be in your care until morning. You've made the right judgment, dear traveler. Please don't worry and get a good rest. Well, you don't need to worry. Nearby there's a village. I'm sure your wife is doing well somewhere around there. How does she know about my wife? Maybe in the recap, like when we came to this hut, like the game said, oh, like he's giving her a recap kind of thing. So maybe in the recap we told her about the wife. Hearing the man's reply, Sarasa felt relieved and smiled. Without saying anything, she prepared a warm meal in bed for him. Despite the situation somewhere inside the man's heart, he feels both assured while also guilty. Or I didn't tell her about the wife, and she just, like, found out by herself. Because she can read my mind or something, you know? ... As night comes, the raging snowstorm is not showing any signs of calming down. Instead of settling down, it feels as if it keeps on getting stronger instead. I wonder if my dear wife is safe somewhere out there. Sarasa. She mentioned there's a village nearby. I hope she's truly able to reach there safely. Honestly, I want to go look for her right away. However, if I venture out there carelessly, I might lose my own life. Is praying really the only thing I can do for now? Now then, what to do? Slip into the bed, go out and look for my wife. Assault dude, what? Why is this even an option? Slip into bed, go out and look for my wife. I feel like the game wants me to go out and look for my wife. Oh, I can save. Yeah, let's save. Slip into bed. Okay, you know, we saved, so let's go out and look for my wife. It's not the time to sit around in a place like this. I need to hurry up and look for my wife. To receive such a warm reception alone by myself is just... At this very moment, somewhere out there, she must be trembling in the cold. The man hurriedly puts on his clothes in a blink of an eye. He sneaks out of the hut, quietly to not wake Sarasa up. The front of the hut was already dyed in white and barely visible. The never-ending blizzard has halted the man and blocked his way. The snow has piled up to the knee level, and the visibility is just the worst. He keeps on walking as he fought to try and not to get caught by the snow, knowing that in the path ahead his loving wife awaits him. I walk and walk, yet Yet I still cannot see anything in the horizon. Yes, there wasn't a single sign or guidepost around here. Like this, my wife might already have died buried in the snow. That's actually true, and that would be really sad. Right at the moment he was about to give up. You can see a shadow resembling a building in the distance. With the tiny amount of hope he has left, he continued to walk step by step. How could this be? It's sunny here and the air is clear. It's like this very place is separated from the snowy mountains. He has finally arrived at a place that looks like a village lined up with old buildings. Where is this place? Could it be... This is the village Sarasa mentioned before. Still, why does it feel like there's not a single presence of a person? Feeling something is wrong, the man decided to enter and explore the village himself. Inside the village it was very quiet, not even a single sound can be heard. It's as if the man himself is the only one left in the whole world. After not being used for so many years, dust has taken over, covering everything inside the houses. Ghost village. Gradually such words came into his mind. Perhaps this is a different village than the one Sarasa mentioned before. The man keeps walking as he is having these thoughts inside his mind. Looking down the path, you can see a trail of footprints that are not his own. I wonder whose footprints are these? Maybe it belongs to my wife. There shouldn't be anyone else this deep inside the mountain. Not entertaining the possibility of the footprints not being his wife's, he decided to follow the path. Following the small footprints, a trail that looks like something is being dragged can be seen. Were they carrying something huge as they dragged it? The mystery is only getting more and more unclear. Following the footprints, he goes deeper and deeper. When eventually he found a particular warehouse that emanated an otherworldly atmosphere. Yeah, this is definitely a GTFO sign. The mysterious footprints appear to continue inside the warehouse. Yeah, this is a GTFO sign. You should not go inside there, dude. The man can feel that something is wrong. Even so, he still decided to open the warehouse. The warehouse's door is exceptionally heavy. Even a man would need to use all of his strength to open it. The door is slowly opened as it lets out a creak. At that very moment, the stench of something rotten surged into the air. Something has been left here for a long time. A ray of moonlight penetrates the looming darkness inside the warehouse. As a pile of human bodies, missing their necks, started falling down. Lying beyond that, a sight that caught my eye was the mutilated body of my wife. Everything from the neck up has been cut off. Her body is lying on the ground without a head attached. From the way it was carelessly scattered about, it's clear it was someone's doing. My wife was murdered by the Kubitori? Was that the name? As the man felt nauseous, he closed his mouth tightly right away, trying to hold it in but to no avail. The white snow has now been sullied by his vomit. The shock of losing his wife, the sight that he shouldn't have seen, and the feelings of guilt assaulted his mind all at once. As he's panicking, he loses his strength and reaches to the ground while wheezing. I don't know what has happened here. All I know is that my wife has been murdered by something. And the fact that there are a huge amount of corpses left behind here. Moreover, all the corpses are all decapitated. This is obviously something abnormal. There's no way for me to understand any more than this. I don't even know any further than this. No matter what I do, I can't calm down. It's dangerous to wander around these parts as the Kubitori might appear. To go outside this late at night is especially dangerous. Suddenly Sarasa's words come to my mind. The folklore about a certain monster that I heard from that hut. Don't tell me. Could such a ridiculous thing truly exist? Did you find her? A cold voice jumped in from behind of the man all of a sudden. Is she the Kubitori? Dear traveler, haven't I already warned you that the Kubitori would show up around these parts? Standing in front of the ray of the moonlight, she spoke to the man with the same attitude as before. However, if there's a definitive difference from before, that would be maybe the scythe she's holding? Grasped in her two hands was a huge sickle. Such a weird face you're making right now. Do you want to know how it turned out like this? She brandishes her sickle towards him as she gave him a cold glare. Fortunately, but it's better that you don't know. Please don't resent me, dear traveler. It's your own fault for not heeding my warning. The huge blade is swung vigorously as it cuts the wind. Yeah, I guess this is the bad ending. I mean, it's definitely an ending, right? Or is this, like, this seemed to be the credits, so maybe it's actually the true ending? But we still have a save game, so we can just load back in and see for ourselves. Interesting story. It reminds me of the story. There's a Japanese folklore that when you go into like the mountains and it's like snowing, and you see a beautiful woman, she just wants to give you a hug. But if you do give her a hug, you will turn out to have hugged like a snowman or something like that, and you die of freezing. Like, it becomes warm and then you die, and then like when they find your body, you're just like in front of a snowman or something like that. It's a very old tale. There existed a certain village deep inside the mountains, isolated from the rest of the world. The village is said to be cursed. Every passing night, a monster would appear and cut the neck of any human within its sight. This monster's name is Kubitori. Although there is nobody who has witnessed its appearance, any traveler who happens to meet it will have their neck cut. Fearful of the existence of this folklore, the villagers performed a ritual to calm the Kubitori. Once every year, they would sacrifice a young child as an offering in order to ward off the evil. Should a child be chosen as the offering, they would be locked inside a warehouse, where they would be decapitated by a huge sickle. It is said that the purer the child was, the more effective it would be. In exchange for the cruel ritual, the Kubitori has been appeased, and the village is slowly regaining its peace. The villagers believed that as long as they performed the ritual, the village would be able to continue existing in peace. Why is there a pantsu shot? Is this a pantsu shot? I don't know. Young woman. Now be good and sit here obediently, no matter what happens and whomever may come. Never even try opening the door, do you understand? A young woman peeked through the small gap in the door and said this to the little girl. She seemed quite impatient, as if she was running out of time. Yes, I understand. No matter what happens and whomever may come, I won't open this door. With an innocent look on her face, the girl trusted her mother's words and did so without a question. Wait here as you're told, like a good girl. I'll definitely come back to you. Yes, I will be a good girl and wait for mother and father to come back. You're such a good girl. It's a promise between us, okay? The young woman lets out a smile of relief as she closes the door tightly. The light from the hut is starting to disappear. Being left alone in the darkness, the little girl sits patiently as she waits for her parents to return. However, no matter how long she waited, none of them ever came back. How much time has passed? The girl's belly started to grumble. She hasn't eaten nor drunk anything for days. She's reaching her limit. The promise with dearest mother. Mother, please forgive me. The girl decided to open the door and walked outside. And then she finally understood what happened to her parents on that day. My parents are never going to return. I was chosen as a sacrifice. But I, who was chosen as a sacrifice, is still alive, while both of my parents were executed. The fact is that both of my parents gave up their lives for me. The girl cursed herself. She can't help but curse herself. And the village that drove them to their deaths. From then on, a few years had passed. Was it around the time the girl had grown up to understand what's going on? On that fateful night, the village is destined to perish. Oh, so she becomes the I was about to say the capybara, the Kubitori? Such is a devastating sight, something that words cannot describe. The monster from the folklore came and devastated the village. The village's brutally decapitated bodies were all carelessly stacked inside a warehouse. Within a single night, the peaceful village has turned into a ghost village. Such is an inevitable thing. The Kubitori dragged her big sickle, covered in a red liquid running down from its blade, muttered something as she surveyed the now silenced village. This was probably the best outcome there is. The villagers have been repaid for every drop of blood they shed for their offerings. The price might be too great for it to be redeemed within a single night. True end, Kubitori. Wait, this is the true end? Okay. So Sarasa is supposed... Wait. Okay, wait. Sarasa is supposed to be sacrificed, but her parents don't want her to be sacrificed, so they hide her in their house, I suppose. And then the villagers execute Sarasa's parents because they won't tell them where Sarasa is to be sacrificed to the Kubitori. And then the Kubitori, like, she basically becomes a Kubitori and kills the village? Question mark. But why does she kill the dude and his wife? We still have our save game, so we're just gonna go to bed. Or how about we assault Sarasa? Okay, we're gonna try and see what happens if we assault Sarasa. Right now in this place, there's only a man and woman who are strangers. And the one roof. It's not surprising if something should happen. Okay, we just turned full perf mode. I hope we die, honestly. Succumbing to curiosity, the man decided to sneak a peek at the woman during the night. As the man snuck into her room, he pulled back the covers. She has a very nice personality. I mean, she did let us, like, sleep here, right? So she has great personality. Oh, it's you. Aren't you a bit late? I'm tired of waiting. Without realizing, he let out a grin and laughed at her unexpected reaction. He thought that she would refuse outright and become furious at him. He breathes wildly as he gets excited. It would appear that the feeling of ecstasy spreads all the way down to his lower body. You're such a lively man. Will you entertain me tonight? I've been waiting for this for a long time. A young man just like you. Go ahead and gloat. That cold and calm look of yours, I can't wait to shred it into pieces. He licks his lips as he thought about all these terrible things. You can see a white snowy valley from the loose parts of her kimono. This is a very nice euphemism. The man reaches out his hand into the mount on her chest. ... when suddenly the world started to shake violently and rotate. Due to that shaking, the man fell and hit his chin on the hard floor. He panicked and tried to look around him. However, his body won't listen to what he says, as if his consciousness was placed somewhere else. What's wrong, dear traveler? It seems that you haven't yet comprehended what has actually happened. She puts her hand on her cheek as she lifts up the man's face. Laying on her chest, the man can see a decapitated body. I mean, I would still take that as a win. Like, you did it, man. Your head is on her chest. The body of a man lying on the floor, with nothing above the neck, and a gush of red liquid is flowing from the open cut. Yes, the man's neck had been taken by the Kubitori. Is this the punishment for his foolishness of trying to devour a woman? A deep sound of agony fills the entire bedroom. Whether it's from regret or is it from pain, nobody but him knows. He can only resent his very own shallowness as he screams out an indescribable cry for eternity. Bad end. The sinner of lust. I mean, it was obvious that that would have been the bad end. It was obvious. Now, I wonder what the last end is going to be. Slip back into the bed. It's what she told me to do. There's a blizzard outside. If I insist on going out, I may endanger my own life. I know better than anyone else that I shouldn't underestimate Mother Nature. No matter how long I ponder about it, no answers come to my head. Let's just call it a day. When tomorrow comes, I'm sure the answer will come on its own. Wrapped in the warmth of the room, the man tucked himself in the futon and drifted asleep. The sound of birds chirping fills the silence. Yes, the long grueling night has passed. Morning has finally come. The storm appears to have passed. The sun is shining, unraveling the clear blue sky. Are you leaving already? As the man is preparing to set forth, the voice of a woman can be heard. There's no need for you to be in such a hurry, is there? You should take your time and then go. Although he is tempted after hearing such sweet words, he tightened and puffed his chest to show his determination. If so then, please be careful on your journey. The woman lets out a lonely smile as she sees him off. Then after a while, as if having remembered something, she faced the man. A moment please, O traveler. As I'm listening to your story, I can only think of inexplicable things. Hearing her words, the atmosphere started to feel as if the very air was freezing over. You said you got separated with your wife on the way here, but are you truly telling the truth? As she said this, an unsettling silence filled the hut. The man stood there in silence and refused to answer the question. A car is driving along the mountain road. Pushing through the snow, it keeps going deeper and deeper into the mountains. Driving the car is a single young man with no one in the passenger seat. The man appears to be impatient about something as he wipes the sweat off his forehead. Eventually, the car stopped in front of a cliff as the door opens up. The man takes out a huge bag out of the trunk and threw it at the bottom of the cliff. The bag that's big enough to hold a person is rolling and makes its way down the cliff. What are you actually looking for? It appears that you aren't truly looking for anything, are you? Although her attitude was very cold, the tune of her voice was gentler than yesterday, as if prying into something hidden deep inside the man, luring it to come out. You were alone in the very worst place. You were alone in the very first place, with no wife to call your own. There's nothing for you to lose. That's why you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about having a wife anymore. It's better if she never existed. That way is way more convenient for both you and me, don't you think? She stares into the man's eyes as she whispered sweet words in his ear. That's right. You should forget about any other woman. Just stay here with me forever. Honestly, I would say yes. Yes. He wondered when did he start to forget. His wife was the woman right here all along. As he convinces himself, he starts to gently close his eyes. Now, my dear, let me make you comfortable. Whomever you are, I will accept it all and bear the burden along with you. The past or the present, it makes no difference now. Sarasa smiled as the man's neck rolled down the floor with a thud. Bad end. False sense of security. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, did he actually have a wife? I mean, in the true end, his wife's neck is, like, dead. Like, in the warehouse. In this bad end, it appears like he killed his wife? And, like, got rid of the corpse? And in the first bad end, yeah, obviously we're trying to assault her. Like, we don't know what happens to her wife in the second bad end, the sin of lust or something that we got. Yeah, but yeah, maybe in this end, he himself killed his wife, and just got rid of the corpse. So the endings are just different versions of reality, I guess. And in the true end, he actually has a wife, and the wife gets killed by the Kubitori. The thing is, what I ask myself is, like, I understand the origin story of Sarasa and her becoming like the Kubitori to get revenge for her parents. But I don't understand why she's now killing strangers. Like, is this the only stranger she's killing? Or are there more strangers that she's killing? And she's just a vengeful spirit that haunts the mountain now. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about this story and about Sarasa. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed Sharon's story. Like, Yanderella was really amazing as well, with the different endings. This was a short but sweet story, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, and see you next time in Let's Plays Done in One Go.